long time no see. Wow, where do I even begin? Starting a reading vlog today. This is definitely going to be a catch-up video. So I'm gonna explain about like where I've been, just a life update, stuff like that. But I am planning to read and film a whole reading vlog for you guys. So hope you guys are all doing well. It's been a long time. If some of you don't know, I have been absent from YouTube / social media in general for a long time. It's been like 6 months, I think, since my last video, and it was really necessary to take a break and just kind of like reassess my whole life in terms of the internet, in terms of booktube, reading, that kind of stuff. Everything else in my life has honestly been the best it ever has been. My life's not like falling apart or anything. In fact, I feel like it's just like getting to a really good place. So I didn't want to ruin that by like continuing to burn myself out with YouTube, because I definitely was burnt out still trying to put out videos that I ended up not being really proud of. Vlogging / filming in general wasn't fun. Reading wasn't even fun. So I was like, why am I doing this if I'm not having fun? Well, I think that happens to the majority of creators. I'm not like trying to say I'm a special case or anything, but that's simply all it was. It's just I was burnt out and I wasn't having fun, so I felt like I needed to stop. A huge part of why I stopped making videos was because I was in a really bad reading slump since it's been like a year. Like in April of last year is when it or I guess April of last year was my last like really good month, but then it was all downhill from there. And some of you know like the life changes that have been happening. I recently moved to Vegas. That's like the biggest update, but that was a whole just life shift, life change that I was trying to navigate. And I thought like, oh, moving to Vegas would be this huge, exciting thing that I'll share, but then it was like a really rough move. So it wasn't fun to share that for me. Like I just wanted to get it done and over with. I wanted to be settled. We were without furniture for the longest time. It was just not fun. So I was not in the mood to film it or share it or anything. Because I feel like that feeling lasted so long, there were plenty of times where I thought I was never going to come back to YouTube. I felt like I was just completely giving up. Honestly, there were plenty of multiple times where I thought I'd never see you guys again, because I just was like, whatever, like it was fun while it lasted, I'm not going to do it anymore. Now you can see that I have changed my mind. I have come to terms with the fact that I do really still want to create YouTube videos, and I still want to share my reading journey with you all, and recommend books and just share a slice of life with you guys, because you are all so sweet. And all of you guys who reached out to me like through Instagram DMs saying that you miss me, you miss my videos, you're wondering if I'll ever come back, and like that kind of stuff, it just really meant a lot, and it was a huge part of what brought me back here today. So I want to thank you all so much for supporting me and for sticking around, wondering if I'll come back, and like just caring that much. Like it means so much to me. So that, on top of my passion for creating in general, I knew that I was going to come back eventually. Just didn't know when, and I wanted to really take my time with it. I actually have a job right now, so like that's taking up a lot of my time, because I was working 5-6 days a week, and like I love my job. It's really a lot of fun, but it was not leaving any time, it wasn't leaving any room for reading and making videos. So that was a huge part of also why it took me so long, because I was just like weighing the options of, do I want to do YouTube full-time, or do I want to actually have a job? Because when I first started YouTube, I didn't have a job. For pretty much that whole time I was on YouTube, I was unemployed, and so it was different. I literally did YouTube full-time. But now I want to dedicate some more time to making YouTube videos, so I'm cutting back on my hours at work so that I can have some days off to film and vlog and read and just do that kind of stuff. I'm also getting like really back into art. Like I've always gone through phases with art and just like wanting to paint all the time and then going through phases where I'm like not picking up any kind of art utensil, like all my art supplies are just packed away. But right now I'm like getting back into it and I really want to stick to it this time. I say that every time, but this time I really do. So you guys can expect to see that kind of stuff on here and on my Instagram as well. I'm going to be sharing a lot of the art pieces that I make. Another huge thing that I struggled with a lot during my slump, reading and YouTube, I kept making promises to other people and to you guys. Like I felt like I kept making promises in videos that I just couldn't fulfill, and that made me feel really bad. Like I just felt so terrible because I was making these promises and then I just couldn't follow through with them. So I'm done making promises. I can't make promises right now because I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how I'm gonna feel tomorrow, but fingers crossed, like I feel really good still. That's the life update. That's the where I've been portion. If you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. Oh, the other thing, update on that, is that I am kind of deactivating or just inactive on Sydney Page Books Instagram, and I'm migrating everything, just transitioning to having everything on my personal Instagram, which is just at Sydney Petit, my first and last name. So make sure you guys go follow that Instagram page, and if you want to unfollow Sydney Page Books, that's totally fine because I'm just not going to be on there anymore. So everything is going to be on my personal Instagram. I'll have it linked down below if you want to follow me there, and feel free to DM me there and ask me any questions that you have, or you can comment on here. I feel like that is the main point of everything I wanted to say, so let me know if you guys have any other specific questions about anything. Now we're gonna get into the reading vlog portion. I don't know how long this video or this vlog will go, because again, don't want to make promises to myself or to you guys about like specifically how this is gonna go. We're just gonna fly by the seat of our pants, so things might change, just that I don't feel bad if they do, you know? So let's talk about current reads. I do have a couple, but just one specific one I do want to read and finish. I'm a little over 50% of the way through it. It's on my Kindle. It's called Tales from the Tales from the Gas Station by, I actually don't even know the author, but I saw it on Kindle Unlimited and I was just like, oh, this seems interesting, seems like my type of book. So I started reading it a long time ago. I'm really slow with my reading these days, which is fine. Author is Jack Townsend. Volume 1, so there's like it's a series of tales from this gas station, and it's very good so far. Like exactly the type of book that I like to read. It is in first place for weirdest book I've ever read. It's very strange, but I love it. It's like a perfect mix of feeling like reality and fiction at the same time. The author is Jack, but then like it's also from his point of view in the book. So like the main character's name is Jack. It's just really good. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this book or this series, but so far I recommend it. And then I want to pick maybe 1 or 2 other books, probably another thriller and then maybe a romance, but we'll see. Morning, it's the next day. I'm having my breakfast and I made it to 80 something percent Really excited to finish it. It's basically a first-person autobiography, but like fictional. The story is basically him, the main employee manager at this gas station that's open 24/7 in the middle of nowhere. There's no service. Strange things are always happening here. Like weird customers are coming in, strange figures in the dark, unexplainable murders, mysterious cars parked outside, a creepy forest surrounding the area. Those are just a few of the things that make this book like super weird and ominous and upsetting. And the other thing that's very important to know about Jack is that he's a chronic insomniac. So he literally doesn't sleep. And so it's very interesting to hear from his perspective, because you're wondering like, oh, is this just sleep deprivation? Is he seeing things because he's literally not sleeping? Basically, the storyline is these things are happening to Jack while he's at work at the gas station. And so he decides to start blogging about it. So he starts up a blog called Tales from the Gas Station and tells the stories of all these weird encounters that he has while at the gas station. And he ends up gaining like a pretty big following. All these people are super interested in his stories. Some of them think it's fictional. They don't think this stuff is actually happening to him. So they're giving like suggestions for what to add to his story. They think that he's just making it all up. I really like it. It's kind of like, it has some cultish vibes to it. There's like some drug use stuff, but it's really good. Like the writing is really, really good, and I love the way that the author is telling the story via Jack's story, which is, it's just kind of like a meta thing, because like the author's name is Jack, but it's also the main character's name, so it makes you feel like it's real, but it's just like so weird that it can't be, but also who knows at the same time, I guess. But I was really surprised too that the Goodreads ratings for this is really high. It doesn't have too many ratings. I think it's like under 5,000, but the average rating is 4.22 stars, which I think is very impressive for just like a random book that I bought on a whim. Like I didn't look into any of it. I just read the synopsis, because gas stations, I feel like, are a trigger word for me. Like anything that's like secluded, out in the middle of nowhere, that's like not a house where it's like open to the public. I think that's a very interesting setting for a thriller. So that was what caught my attention right away. I was like, oh, gas station story, like let's read the synopsis. I started reading it. I really like it, and apparently everyone else does too. So if you're a fan of thrillers, this kind of thing sounds interesting too. I would definitely recommend picking it up. I finished Tales from the Gas Station. I still really enjoyed it, even though the ending was not what I expected. I am giving it 4.5 stars. This is like the highest rated book I've read in a long time. I haven't had a 5-star in like what feels like forever, but 4.5 is pretty good, and I'm really happy that I had a book I really thoroughly enjoyed. Even though it took me forever to like get through it, it's not a long book either. There really was not a dull moment with this book. Like throughout the entire thing, I was really invested. I'm still really invested in the story, so now I do think I will continue with the other 3 volumes, but it didn't necessarily end on a cliffhanger, so I don't feel the need to like immediately pick up volume 2. It left a lot of unanswered questions, so like it kind of ended abruptly in the story. Like it did not explain everything that I thought it was going to, but also at the same time it was satisfying enough. I think that is a sign of a really well-written first book, because it gets you super invested in what is happening, and then it doesn't explain it all by the end. Like it doesn't give you all the answers, so you want to keep reading the rest of the series. So I am satisfied with that book. I don't feel like I have to read volume 2 like right now, but in the meantime, oh, I dropped my Apple Pencil down the crevice. I've got it. I've decided my next book, and I'm really excited for it. Other People by CJ Tudor. I've had this on my physical TBR for a good time now, because I heard someone once compare it to No Exit, So that's why I immediately purchased it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Definitely in the thriller mood, so I wanted to pick up another thriller. So this says on the back, driving home one night, Gabe sees the face of a little girl he knows in the rear window of the car in front. She mouths one word, Daddy. He never sees his 5-year-old daughter Izzy again. The police believe she's dead, but 3 years later, Gabe still drives the roads searching for the car that took Izzy, never giving up hope. I like a missing child trope in my books, not in real life. To save your daughter, you must find the other people. I always think it's so creepy and like eerie when I start a book and the date is so close to like the actual date that I'm reading it. Right now it's April 4th, and I feel like this happens a lot. Tell me if that happens to you guys at all. Hi. It's a couple days later now, but I have finished The Other People by CJ Tudor. Couldn't really put this down, so I didn't give you a mid check-in update because I just kind of wanted to finish the whole thing and then come to you with my final thoughts. As I said when I first picked this up that I've heard someone compare it to No Exit, I would actually say that there's not many similarities to No Exit in this book, but I can see how you would get that based off of the synopsis alone. But I actually found it to be more similar to Then She Was Gone and The Collective. So like those two books put together is kind of what you get in this one. Funny thing is though, I loved one of those and didn't really like the other. Okay, and so I don't really want to say too much more about this book other than what's on the back of it, because I feel like this is going to be best for you to go into it blind if you haven't read this book and you want to. I think it's good to not really know much about it other than what it says on the back, which I told you we're following Gabe, who is on the highway and he sees what he thinks is his daughter in the back of a car in front of him. We're also following two different characters as well, Fran and her daughter Alice, who are on the run from people who are trying to hurt them. So it's a very multifaceted story following multiple characters, and you're seeing it all get woven together. And like the pieces of the puzzle start connecting with everyone, and like I just love that. So because there's so many aspects to the story, I thought I was figuring things out, and I was figuring things out as I was reading along, which always feels good. But there were still so many aspects of the story that you didn't know until the very end. And I like when a story can kind of like sprinkle in some of the plot twists for you or sprinkle in some of the clues for you to catch on to, but you're still wondering till the very last page about everything else. Like you still don't get it all, so you have to read till the end. So it keeps you very, very interested, and I definitely was. So it was an addictive page turner for sure, and I was excited to pick it up and read it every day. So I think that's a win for me. The chapters are also really, really short, so that makes it a quick and easy read too. So overall, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars because I feel like it didn't give me the visceral reactions that a 5-star should. I definitely think that a book deserves a 5-star when it can make me react viscerally by, you know, gasping or oohs and ahs, you know. So it didn't really do that for me, even though I was still really engaged and into the story. I just didn't really react to what was happening. So I think that's the only thing that would have made it even better. It would have made it a 5-star if I had like a big gasp moment, but I didn't really. But it was still really good. So 4 out of 5 stars for this one. And I'm gonna read one other book for this vlog. I didn't really know what book because I had said maybe I would pick up a romance after I read the thrillers. So I did try and start Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi, but I read the first chapter and I realized that it's not really something I want to read right now. I just didn't really feel in the mood to push myself through it, especially because it's kind of long for a young adult romance. I just read the first chapter and I was like, you know what, never mind. I'm gonna put this down for now. It's not really what I'm looking for. So instead, I'm gonna read a portion of the book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, because this is our next family book club pick. And yes, I am still doing my family book club. Our book club has basically been the only thing that's kept me into reading at least one book a month, because that's usually the pace that we read at. But unfortunately, we haven't been reading very many great books at all, so I don't have anything to recommend from the few books that we've been reading the past several months, which is really unfortunate. I don't know why we're all just like kind of picking duds, like nothing's really been that exciting, but this is going to be our next pick. So I'm going to read about a third of this, then give you my thoughts there, and then I won't be able to finish it because I do have to read along for the book club, so I'm not going to finish it in this vlog, but I will give you my thoughts once I reach like page, I believe it's page 120 or something like that. So that's all I'm going to read of this, and then you can hear my final review and rating of it in my wrap up. So that's what we're going to read next. I've read the first 17 chapters of this, and I'm on page 117 now, and I really like it so far. Let me tell you what it's about first before I get into my thoughts. This is a story about Shay, who is a true crime blogger in her free time. She likes to write about cases that have gone cold as a hobby. So again, this is kind of similar to the gas station stories, with the title of this book being the title of whatever the main character is writing. So like her website is called The Book of Cold Cases. So she writes a lot about cold cases. And one in particular is from 1977. There is this lady killer that killed 2 seemingly random men with the same gun and left like mysterious notes behind after each one. The woman acquitted of this crime, her name is Elizabeth Greer. Shay meets Beth, she goes by Beth, sees her in this doctor's office that Shay works at. This is now in 2017, so math is not mathing right now, but however many years, 40 years? So from 1977 to 2017, Shay runs into Beth Greer and she asks to interview her for her website, and shockingly, Beth agrees. So they go to Beth's mansion to do this interview, and the mansion is like super creepy. So there's things that are like moving, you know, cold drafts and everything like that. So Shay's super creeped out by this mansion, but she wants to obviously solve this cold case about Elizabeth. That's all I'm gonna say, but I feel like I caught on to exactly what's going on by page like 50. I obviously don't know yet if I am correct, but I have a really, really strong theory, but I don't know like how it's all connected. I don't know how we're gonna get there, but I feel like that is the end. I feel like I know the end result. I just don't know how we're gonna get there. So yeah, I'm really excited to keep reading this. I have to wait till later this week till I can read the next second portion of this book, and then we'll read the third portion. So it's gonna take us 3 weeks to finish this book. So you guys will have to wait on my rating. I will have to wait to find out what happens, but I'm really excited. So anyway, that's gonna be the end of this vlog. The first vlog back. I gotta say, it feels good. It feels good to be back. So I hope this was a nice surprise for all of you guys to see me back on YouTube, and I will definitely be seeing you again very soon. I do have lots of other plans, reading vlog ideas, so I'm really excited to get back into it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did. I will see you guys soon. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Sydney Petit. I will link it below. I will also link other things below so you can check it all out. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.